20th, 2020 board meeting. And again, this is our regular board meeting. We do have a quorum of our board team here. We have Mr. Gallegos. We have Ms. Mizell Flint. We have Mr. Parker. We have Mr. Dindal. And we have Dr. We have Taylor here with us. And one of our board members is unable to make it, so Art is not here. So that's a quorum of our board team. That's the item 1 on our agenda. Item 2, I've asked Mr. Dindal to lead us in our invocation this evening. So Bill, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Lehman. If you'd pray with me, Lord, we just thank you for all those interested parties gathered here tonight, Lord. We pray that you would give us guidance in the direction for the business of our district. And Lord, in these uncertain and perilous times, we pray that you especially cover our students and our staff, as well as the city of San Angelo, with your safety and protection. Lord, we lift all these things up to you, and we know that you can heal our land in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks, Bill. And our Deputy Superintendent, Shelley Hullahan, is going to lead us in our pledges. So we should have a picture of the flags, and when they come up, there you go. I'll let you start, Shelley.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which I stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one and indivisible. I think I said that wrong. One state under God, one and indivisible. I'm sorry.
Get started all over.
All right, let me do it one more time. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. I thought y'all were going to say it with me.
Mr. Lehman, we need to recruit some more students.
Yes, we do.
So speaking of students, our next item is recognition. Probably one of my favorite times of the year is when we get to meet all of our students and recognize them for their achievements throughout the year. In addition to a bunch of really incredible staff members that we have, sponsors and people who work with our students on a day-to-day basis. So thank you, sponsors and teachers, for being here. Thank you for what you do every day, but thank you especially for what you've been doing over the last month. I know it's trying time, and I couldn't be more proud of what our district's doing and the job that you guys are doing, you guys and gals. So I appreciate y'all being here this evening. Also, we have a number of parents on our watching this, and we thank you for the role you play and how important you are in the education of your children. So we really appreciate you being here to support that this evening. We did this at our March meeting, and it really turned out well. A lot of the sponsors, sometimes when they come to our board meeting, they're maybe a little bit more nervous than they should be, or they think that we're in a big rush and they don't spend as much time with their introducing their students to us. And so in March, we got a really good idea of how many students were involved and exactly how accomplished many of our young people are. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to, I guess our recognitions are going to be, I don't know if Molly's on or not. I didn't see Molly.
Mr. Lehman, I'm going to lead the student recognition.
Okay.
We just need a slight pause. We have a lot of features going. Jack is on our Facebook page, and our Facebook Live is still spinning. So the web is trying to catch up with us. But if we can pause for just a second, we really want our students and parents that are joining us with Facebook Live to have that opportunity. So it should be much longer.
Okay, let me explain a little bit how we run our board meeting. I think our board members are familiar with it, but not everybody that's watching are on our Zoom meeting this evening might not be aware. We'll call for each vote. So after we have a motion and a second, I'll make sure I announce who made that motion in a second, and then I'll make sure as we vote to approve that or disapprove that, then we'll call each individual board member by name and ask them for their vote. It's a little bit different than we normally do, but that's how we'll handle it on this Zoom meeting. And I don't think I have anything else prior to us getting started. I'll remind the board members, we're going to try to have an executive session after we stop here. We'll have to get out of this Zoom meeting and get into another Zoom meeting. Dr. Gomez is going to host that for us, and her and Dr. Detloff will be on briefly. Then we'll have our executive meeting, and then we'll have to get back off and get back into this meeting. So I think that's how Dr. Gomez explained it to me. So are we ready, Dr. Gomez?
We'll go ahead and get started. Facebook is still spinning. It might be out of our control. For all of our sponsors that are on live, we will make sure if your students or parents aren't able to join us through Facebook Live due to some technical difficulties, this meeting is being recorded, and we will have the recording that we can share with students and parents who may not have been able to join with our Facebook Live. It might pull up as we're going, but we'll go ahead and get started. Don't delay any further. Again, if you'll please mute your mic when you're not speaking, that will definitely help as we go through. So Mr. Lehman, Dr. Detloff, and members of the board, this evening we have several student recognitions. Sponsors have joined our Zoom meeting, and as mentioned earlier, we hope to be streaming live very quickly on our San Angelo ISD Facebook page. We also have Mrs. Roxanne Fentress, our Director of CTE, Career and Technical Education, present with us this evening. Mrs. Fentress began this new role in January, replacing Mrs. Joy Gay, who retired. First, we will begin with Business Professionals of America for Central High School and West Business Training Center. First, for our BPA sponsors, we have Judith Kitchens.
Good evening. Thank you so much for recognizing our students. BPA at Central, we had a fantastic year. I can't remember exactly how many that we had compete at regionals. I know it was over 15, but we had 11 that went to state. Before I talk about our students, though, I want to recognize and tell you about our sponsors. We have 5 BPA sponsors at Central, and it's myself, Judith Kitchens. We also have Scarlett Rodriguez, Brent Abeles, Lauren Scott, and Lynn Mitchell. And all of us work very well together. And like I said, we just had some superb students in our classes this year. They just exceeded our wildest expectations, and just so very proud of them. So we had 11 students go to state, and I had 8 students that competed at regionals. And so out of my 8 students that competed at regionals, all 8 of them went to state, and 5 of my 8 also qualified for nationals. And so I will tell you that we had some very disappointed kiddos that were not able to go to Washington, D.C. In May for national competition. And I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure that 5 students going to nationals at one time is a pretty big thing for BPA. And I was just extremely proud of my guys and girls. Just wonderful, wonderful. So first, let me kind of tell you a little bit about them. My first student that competed was Kaitlyn Bailey. And Kaitlyn Bailey, she is a senior. And actually, all of my students that competed were seniors except for one. I only had one junior. So I'm going to lose a great group of seniors. Kaitlyn Bailey competed in database applications, which I will tell you is very, very difficult. And that she just did superb. She got first place at regionals. At state, she placed 4th, which once again is a national qualifier. And I'm just telling you that the competition at the state level is very, very fierce. You're dealing with, oh gosh, over 3,000 students probably from all over the state. Huge schools, small schools, and so once again, San Angelo ISD made a great showing. So Kaitlyn Bailey, once again, she qualified to go to nationals. Very, very proud of her. Next up is Kaitlyn Harris, and another senior. And Kaitlyn competed in medical office procedures. She was also in the nursing program at Howard College at the West Texas Training Center, and she is planning to pursue a career in the medical field. And so once again, worked very, very hard. She also placed first at regionals, and at state placed fifth, which was also a national qualifier. And just so disappointed to miss the chance to go to Washington, D.C. and compete, but so very, very, very proud of Kaitlyn. My third student is Billy Cortez. He is our junior, and he competed in intermediate word processing, first place at regionals and placed third at state. And I will tell you that I have graded and not necessarily judged, but graded these type word processing events at the state level. And this is very, very tooth and nail event. So for him to place third at state is just beyond outstanding. But he is our junior, so he is the only one out of my bunch that has a chance to compete again for BPA. Next up is Camille Fott. Camille is a senior. She had competed in advanced word processing this year. Of course, first at regionals and placed fifth at state, also a national qualifier. Camille also competed her sophomore year for BPA in, I believe, fundamental word processing, and she actually went to nationals in fundamental word processing her sophomore year. So to make it twice to nationals in BPA in her high school career is wonderful, just very outstanding. So very proud of Camille. My next student, Tonya, another senior, and she competed in basic office systems and procedures. With this event, what they have to do is they not only have to be a wonderful, not necessarily typist, but they have to do, you don't know what kind of job that they will get. They have multiple choice questions that they have to know all about business systems, business applications. She may have a spreadsheet to do. She may have an itinerary to do. There's just very well-rounded. So this is another tough competition. She placed second at state, second place at state, and again, a national qualifier. So just so very proud of Tonya. My next student, Nadia Carrillo, and she competed in legal office procedures. She placed first at regionals and was a state qualifier. And even though she didn't quite make it to go to nationals, she placed very high and did very well on the state level. And once again, they have to know all about different legal proceedings, legal pleadings. They all also have to know the legal vocabulary, terminology, all kinds of things about the legal field. So she did an outstanding job, and we're very, very proud of her. Next up, Robert Chappa. Robert is another senior, and he competed in payroll accounting. He also placed first at regionals, and once again, he also did very well at state, although he didn't quite qualify for nationals, but did very, very well. And in this field or in this event, I know there's over 100 people that compete. And so, like I said, very challenging, but he did an outstanding job. Very, very well. And my last student that I had compete was Camden Reed. And actually, I made a mistake. She is also a junior, so she will be a senior next year and will have the opportunity to compete in BPA if she has a business class. Camden competed in advanced office systems and procedures. Last year, she competed in basic office systems and procedures and also went to state. So she had to go on to the next level and competed in advanced and just did really, really well. And once again, she did really, really well at state as well. So like I said, I'm very, very proud of my 8 kiddos and 5 of them going to nationals. And this just exceeded my dreams and expectations for these students. And it just shows what a very intelligent and bright group of young people that I get the privilege of working with and teaching and sponsoring. So thank you so much. And I'm just very, very pleased to present them to you.
Thank you, Ms. Kitchens. I believe next up for BPA, we have Brent Abelez. Brent, are you up?
Yes, ma'am. Hello, everyone. My name is Brent Abelez. I am also the head tennis coach at Central High School. I am also ecstatic to be part of this organization, the BPA. It works with tennis, and so I do tennis and BPA while I can. This year I had two compete, and one did not make it. She placed right outside of the qualifying for state. But however, Max Swinehart, he did PC troubleshooting and servicing. He is my first kid. Last year I had kids in BPA compete, and he is my first student to compete. So it was really exciting. He studied quite a bit. He knew what he was doing. He loves computers and worked on all of that. And so he placed first at regionals here in San Angelo and was a state qualifier. He came up just a bit short at state. I was not able to attend that. We also had a tennis tournament that day. So, we were proud of him and excited for him. And he is a junior. And so, he did promise to come back stronger and bigger and better for next year. So we look forward to that and all the great things that he's going to accomplish and the kiddos we're going to have compete for next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Next up, we have Scarlett Rodriguez.
I have Eduardo Palacios. He's a sophomore, and he is excited to do this again. So Java programming is difficult, and he definitely held his own. He knew exactly what he was doing. So it was a pleasure to go with Eduardo. Bella's my senior. What was fun and special about taking Bella to state was I got to take her as a sophomore. And so it was cool to kind of share that moment that we were kind of coming into Central as a sophomore. We went to Corpus Christi, and now she's leaving in her senior year as a senior in Dallas. So that was really fun to get to share that with her. She did advanced interview skills and did wonderful. But again, we are Business Professionals of America at Central High School. We appreciate all that y'all do to make this possible for us. We appreciate our CTE director because she sure makes travel easy and doable. So we appreciate all the hands that play a part in this.
Thank you, Scarlett. Now we have Chad Wilson for West Texas Training Center BPAs. He'll be speaking on behalf of Randy Hensley, who is unable to join us this evening.
Hello, distinguished board members. It is my privilege to, can we go back?
Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Wilson.
That's all right.
I was letting someone in at the same time. Here we go.
Gotcha.
My apologies.
No worries. So I'm Chad Wilson, and I teach out at the West Texas Training Center. It is a blessing to teach both high schools at the same time for this district. I think we get the best of both worlds. It's amazing. Mr. Hensley teaches across the hall from me, and he also teaches out there. We are co-sponsors for the Business Professionals of America chapter at the West Texas Training Center. This year, my members, and this was the first year I actually had a completely even team, if you will. So 2 of the members are from Central and 2 of the members are also from Lakeview. But this is the animation team for BPA, for the West Texas Training Center. And we have from left Christian Rodriguez and Philip Bordner, both of which go to Central High School. And then Manuel Robles Rodriguez and Michaela Wall, also, they go to Lakeview. The Bordner, who is in the middle, the young man in the khaki pants, he's my sophomore. He's very talented. And I can see us going to nationals possibly the next 2 years. So we had a great team dynamic there with the leadership of my seniors on the team, which would be Christian Rodriguez and Manuel Robles Rodriguez. They did a great job. And Miss Wall did a wonderful job, and she's a junior. I think she'll be back. I haven't got a commitment out of her yet, but I think she had so much fun with the team and the other event she placed in. So we did 3rd place at regional competition, and we were state qualifiers. We didn't play so well at state, but that's all right. We have some that have an opportunity to return. In the next slide, you'll see, again, Michaela Wall, she got 1st place at regional competition with the computer modeling individual event. She is very talented. She's also talented in a lot of sports, so it's a struggle to get those athletes back into my 3D animation course, but we'll see what we can do for next year. But I think she's also a very talented individual. I look forward to hearing her success story later on in life. And then I think the next slide, this talented individual, she goes to Central. Her name is Denise Fernandez. This is Mr. Hensley's student, and she competed in digital media production as an individual. She placed 1st at BPA regional competition, and she, again, was a state qualifier. All of these students, I think, did a phenomenal job, especially with our class types out there and how we're able to structure our program. So I can't tell you if Miss Fernandez will be back, but we're so excited about these students. We can't wait to hear how wonderful they do in all their endeavors. And of course, once they're one of our BPA students, we're proud of them forever. We want to know their success story. Hopefully we can tell you some more of these later in life.
Thank you so much. Next, we have our culinary arts programs, and we'll begin with culinary arts from Central High School, Miss Julia Crooks.
To take a team of 4 to their Pro Start cooking competition in Round Rock. But before I talk about that, the program is set up right now as a 2-year program, and the 2nd-year students, they get to intern with local restaurants around town, some of which were actually doing that at the time of the lockdown. So uniquely, I do still have 9 students working in fast food restaurants around town. And it's really interesting, the stories they tell me about what they do. Many of which don't even actually touch food at all right now. They are going in at really early and late hours, and they are sanitizing, and that's all they're doing. So just know that some of them are still out there working. So about Pro Start, if you have ever watched Chopped or any one of those food shows, it's very similar. Food has to be on the plate when time is up, and our kids got food on the plate with 1 second to spare. So this was like nail biting and fantastic experience for them. The team of 4, they placed 4th out of 15 teams, and this was the first time Central has participated in this, I believe, in 13 years. So the learning curve was huge, but we did really, really well. So all 4 were seniors. Oh, I think I jumped ahead of that. But yes, so uniquely, our program does put kids at Taste of San Angelo. They get to assist chefs in their booths. They also intern with different ones around town. They work with the San Angelo Symphony's yearly fundraiser where they do a chef cook-off. I believe last year it was the Angry Cactus and the Hoffman Cake Cottage against each other. We have kids that assist in the Laura Bush Luncheon, which will not be happening this year, but they did get to experience her speak last year. And we have them assist at different things all over, usually right around this time of year. So I know they're all kind of bummed. All right, so Kaitlyn Bailey, Liam Conley, Alexis Garcia, and Sebastian are all graduating seniors this year. Sebastian, this kid is culinary obsessed. I mean, his dad is the sous chef at Community Hospital. They put many, 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 many hours a month volunteering for a local soup kitchen at St. Mary's, which they're still doing currently, just fully suited up. He visited Escoffier's school just a day after competition, and he did get in and get everything taken care of. So he is culinary school bound, and he's still cooking every day. Sends me pictures. Liam is just a great guy all the way around. He's one of many kids, and he has 9 sisters, which I think makes him an amazing, amazing person, and probably why he's going to go into the field of psychology after this. But he does love culinary. He interns with Angry Cactus downtown, not currently, and he plans on making that his backup plan. Kaitlyn Bailey, you saw her earlier in BPA. She did place for BPA Nationals, and she's a big reason why the paperwork part of our competition got done. She helped design some really great menus with the help of digital media and BPA. You know, she was our topper of the group, very professional, very business oriented, and her plan is, again, to be in the business world. Alexis, her picture may show it. She is a super, super shy student, but a really great teammate. And so they begged her to be on this team, of which she did, and came out of her shell. You're very much in front of and interacting with local chefs from all over the industry, some with 40 years experience, and they're very, very intimidating. They're talking to you while you're in this 1 hour time frame to cook in front of them. And she talked beautifully. She was able to work right through the menu. She could talk about what her other cohorts on her team were doing at a time. And as a team, they worked wonderfully well. Couldn't have been happier.
Thank you so much, Ms. Crooks. Now we have Lakeview High School and Annette Daniels.
Hi, we do the SKILLSUSA program at Lakeview, and these are the pictures of our students the day that the awards were announced. I'm a sponsor, and Sarah Candela is also a sponsor, but there is a whole community that made this happen for us. We have a new program. This is our second year to do this, and the majority of this year has been spent with our kitchen under construction. So the picture that you're seeing and the results and the smiling faces, there was so many hours and hours of work with not the greatest kitchen equipment while we were under construction, but we have thanks to Mr. Creek and his crew, we have a beautiful new kitchen and dining room that just actually got completed right before we stopped being at school. So it's a little heartbreaking for these kids not to be in there doing what they do. Their competition is pretty intense. The first one is a restaurant services, which we swept this at district with Jefferson, Daisy, and Cody taking first, second, and third. This is a front of the house competition. So when I get these students, not everybody wants to be in the kitchen cooking. Some of them want to be decorating cakes. Some of them are good in the front of the house dealing with the customers. And these 3 really shined in this area. So this competition, you have to make a dish tableside, and you have to learn napkin folds, how to say them, how to speak well. You have to know the menu and be able to answer questions on the fly. So these guys knocked it out of the park, and they really enjoyed practicing in our new dining room, being able to do this. The next competition is baking. So at state, this is a 6-hour competition where you are literally under the fire to make all kinds of baked goods. And while one thing is in the oven, you have to be prepping another thing. And Dolores is a first-year culinary student as a junior, and she took first place in this competition against some pretty stiff competition this year. This next one is culinary. This is a 6-hour competition where you start with doing vegetable cuts and then you fabricate a chicken. You prepare 2 dishes that you present to the chefs, and the whole time during the competition, the chefs are walking around asking you questions, watching you. So it's a very intense competition. Brandon has won first place for the 2nd time in a row, and Lewis, my other senior, took 3rd place this year. The really cool thing about this competition is there were so many hours spent doing this, and over this time where we've been working from home, I've gotten 3 pictures from students that they sent me that they're fabricating a chicken at home, which I think is just awesome. This next one was a community service. This was a team project, and our team with Carlos, Corbin, and Chase took 2nd place. Carlos is a foreign exchange student from Spain that took part in our culinary program this year. So this group worked together to do a project in the community, and they got up and dressed professionally and presented that project to a panel of judges. The job skills competition is one where the student gets to pick what they present to the judges. Jefferson, again, took first place. He did a flour bread where he rolled it out and demoed how he put it together. And then Lance made pasta from scratch for the judges and took 2nd place in that one. And then this last one was a baking demo. So like I said, we have some students that their thing is baking, and Anna and Jill were 2 of these students. Anna did some macarons and Jill did a 3-tiered cake for her presentation. So these are our students that competed and were very successful, but they are continuing being successful. We have 2 students going on to Odessa Culinary School. We have several students working in the community. And like I said, we've gained so many supportive connections through the community, through HEB Community Hospital, a lot of the local restaurants. It takes a community to do all this with these students, and we've been very fortunate with the support from the district also.
Thank you so much, Ms. Daniels. Next up, for Family Career and Community Leaders of America, or FCCLA, we have Jody Sabaka, Anissa Hayes, and Michaela Morgan from Central High School.
All right, so I want to let the board know we thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for supporting what we do every single day with these students. On a side note, as a teacher, you've now given us a chance to talk about our kids, and we haven't seen our kids in a while, so you may get a lot of us talking a whole lot because we haven't got to teach for a while and we haven't seen our kids, so we're going to talk about them. So side note to that, just want to tell you that San Angelo Central FCCLA has had a stellar year this year. Not only has FCCLA as an organization, they're celebrating their 75th year, but our officers this past year wanted to have a goal of reaching 75 members in our organization. Believe it or not, we came just 2 people shy of that. We ended up with 73 members, and that was more than doubled from the previous year. So we feel like we're on a good roll and plan to keep going for the next year. As far as the STAR events, which is how we compete in FCCLA, we took 7 teams, and all 7 teams advanced to state. They all either came in first or second, and we were so proud of this group of girls. I mean, actually all girls. So we did a really good job of representing San Angelo Central when we went to Lubbock. For my 3 sets, and I'll let the other sponsors talk about their kiddos as well. But let me see. Where was I at? Okay. It was held online. This is to tell you a little bit about state. Since after spring break, we didn't, as you guys know, didn't come back to school. And so FCCLA decided to still do state contest. And what they did was they took the averages, the grades, if you want to say it that way, from all the regional contests and used a formula. And I'm not sure how to do that because I'm not a math person, but they used the formula in order to determine who placed its state. So when they placed its state, then they had like a virtual award program. So they listed the ones that made the top 5 in the state. And then we got to see the first and second place winners then went to nationals. Nationals is scheduled for July the 5th through the 9th this summer in Washington, D.C. We're still kind of waiting for you guys and for Mr. Waters and everyone else that makes those decisions to see if we'll be able to go or not. But at this point, we're keeping our fingers crossed and hoping we'll get to go compete up there as well. So let me tell you a little bit about my kiddos. The first one I want to talk to you about is Alondra. Alondra is a senior, super sweet young lady. She is second year in my education program and loves the little kids. Wants to be a early childhood education teacher or kindergarten teacher, and she's right now doing an internship at Santa Rita until everything got shut down. She's really quiet and shy young lady, but really great. And I don't think she realized how great she was until she started competing. And then we got into regionals, and man, did she knock it out of the park with a first place showing at regionals. And then they did state, and then she ended up in second place. So now she's a national qualifier. So she was pretty excited not only to get a letter jacket, but she was also pretty excited that she might get a chance to go to DC as well. So good stuff for her coming up. My next one is Ashlyn Holcomb, and this is my sophomore who, she just wanted to compete somewhere. She didn't care where. You know, it's kind of how she started, and I love her to death. She started, decided she wanted to do entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship is where you have to actually come up with a whole business. And I think she just thought she could come up with an idea and then it'd be okay, you know, and just talk about the idea. What she didn't realize is all the work that went in before it, and she buckled down and did it. She had to have a business plan, she had a budget, she had to do insurance, all types of stuff. So she also wants to be an elementary school teacher when she graduates, and just was like, I just want to compete. So we did entrepreneurship. She came in first at regionals, to her surprise. I think she was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I made it. And then at state, she ended up being in fourth place. So I hope to see more great things out of her in the years to come. My next one is Delaney Grimes, and this young lady, it's just sweet as her smile is how she is in her soul. Sweetest young lady. She's a junior. She's also doing an internship at Fort Concho, and she kind of moves around in grade level. She wants to do the older ones. The 4th, 5th, 3rd grade kind of is where she's open to land when she starts to teach. She competed in Teach and Train, and this is actually where you go teach a lesson. You have to show proof of that and a lot of documentation on what she's done in the past and what she plans to do in the future. And so she placed first at regionals, and then in state she got second, and also has qualified for nationals. So we're hoping for some good travel maybe this summer if everything falls out just right. Before everybody goes on, I want to tell you thank you, board, for all that you do. You're behind the scenes working hard, and we appreciate it.
My name is Anessa Hayes, and I am another one of the sponsors for SCCLA at Central. And I took Kaitlyn Harris. Ms. Kitchens talked about her when she was going over BPA. It has been a true honor and pleasure to have Kaitlyn all 3 years of her high school career at Central in my class. And I'm really going to miss her next year when she graduates. She competed in career investigation, and she is extremely passionate about being a pediatric nurse, and her dream is to work at Cook's Children's in Fort Worth. And I truly believe that she will excel at whatever she does. So she was very excited to go present everything that she knew about the nursing career at regionals. And she took second place at regionals. She had a lot of really stiff competition. Some of the kids in her category, the one who took first place had actually been into an OR and watched a doctor perform surgery. So unfortunately, Kaitlyn didn't have that kind of advantage, but I think that she did a very, very good job. She shadowed a lot of people in town, and she knows beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is her calling in life. So I'm really going to miss her when she graduates.
Hi, I'm Michaela Morgan. I am the other FCCLA advisor. So I actually got to take 3 groups to regionals, and they all made it to state. They're all sophomores and juniors, so I'm excited because they'll be able to be back next year. So the first girls are Melanie and Sky, and they are my fashion girls. They competed in the fashion design event where they actually had to create a fashion label. They had to name it. They had to do a target audience, pick out fabric, do pricing, and then they actually had to sketch and make an outfit. So they did a toddler line, and in the end made a cute little dress for a toddler. And they won first place at regionals. They didn't make it in the top 5 at state. I'm still super proud of them. They put so much work into it. They had no idea what they were signing up for when they decided to do it. And so they had a lot of fun. And then my next girls are Julia and Rayleigh. So they are both juniors at Central. They competed in public policy advocate, and that's where they actually had to choose a topic to advocate for. So they did car seat safety, and they actually wrote into Governor Abbott to try to help make car seat safety more aware. A lot of people aren't aware of the consequences or anything. And they did awesome. They placed second at regionals. And then my last group are all sophomores. So I'm excited because I have them for 2 more years. So Kylie, Alyssa, and Nina. And they competed in Focus on Children, where they set up a school supply drive around Central. They made boxes and set them up. And then in the end, they donated all of their school supplies to Fort Concho Elementary. And so they were super excited, and they also got second at regionals. So we are so excited for this next year. Like we said, we doubled our numbers, so we're looking forward to increasing it even more and having an even better year next year. So thank you all.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Skills USA. Skills USA is a partnership of students, teachers, and industry working together to ensure America has a skilled workforce through educational programs, events, and competitions that support career and technical education. We have Raymond Banner, Ray Rangel, Doug Foley, and Brennan Rolowitz joining us for Skills USA.
Hello, board members, and I appreciate your support. Also, just really appreciate our new CT director, Roxanne. She has done an amazing job for us. Not only me and the gentleman that we're about to present our students, but we also host District 2 competition for West Texas. And this year we had over 650 people registered that came to San Angelo to compete. So we just had a really big group. So, okay, next slide. First place, I had a student in Skills USA Action Skills Contest. That is basically a contest where a student does a presentation, and it's 5 to 7 minutes. Well, Dominique Curry, he got to install a smart switch. It's not just a regular light switch like you would have in most homes, but nowadays they have switches that can connect to Google Home, and where you can control the switch by saying, you know, hey, Google, turn something on or turn something off, and it connects to your Wi-Fi. So, and there's a little bit of trick to it, but he did a demonstration on that, and he took first place and qualified for state competition. But unfortunately, our state competition was canceled because of the situation that we're in. Okay, the next one. And then in building maintenance contest, had 3 kids that did it just exceptionally well. First place was Isaiah Sherman. He worked extremely hard. This is the 2nd year in a row that he competed in the contest. He took 2nd at district last year, and last year he competed at state. This year he took 1st at district, and really he had an amazing shot at actually winning state again. 2nd is Diamond Jefferson, just a wonderful young lady. 3 years she has been in my program. This is the first year she qualified for state competition, but she did an amazing job. Just a few points off from the first place winner, Sherman. Both Sherman and Diamond both were also Bell Guardians. Just wonderful people, and unfortunately seniors, and kind of breaks my heart because they don't get to do state competition. But I know it's disappointing, but they worked really hard. Fourth place was Marissa. She actually have earned the right to compete in building maintenance competition. So she was the fourth place winner, and they take the top 5 in district. So we had 3 people compete. So I'm really proud of my kids. I really miss my kids. But they did well. They worked hard, and I appreciate y'all giving us the time to recognize them. Thank you.
So this is Mr. Rowitz. I'm speaking about my auto collision repair course. This young gentleman here is Damian Espinosa. He is a second-year student in my advanced collision repair course. He placed 3rd in the hands-on auto refinishing contest. And next slide is Oswaldo Duran. I did not get a picture of him. He's a Lakeview student, also a senior. He placed 2nd in the collision repair hands-on contest at our district contest. Unfortunately, we did not get to go to state with these guys. They would have gone and participated in a technical information course, but this was held the same time as Mr. Bennett just spoke about our District 2 competition out at the West Texas Training Center at the end of February. So it's sad to see where we don't know where these guys would have ended up and how far they would have gone, but we're always looking forward to next year. But we appreciate the backing of our school board members, and a shout out to all my other fellow instructors out there. Good job on all y'all's successes this year, and hope we can continue with it next year. Thanks, y'all.
Mr. Engel, I think it's you, but we're not able to hear you. You're unmuted. We just can't hear you.
I believe that this was Mr. Foley, Auto Tech. Yeah, I believe that was Mr. Foley's student for automotive technology. They, for the Auto Tool ID, they had to go in and they were shown 50 pictures on a slideshow, and they had to write down the correct, proper terminology or name for that particular tool. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he was first in that contest and was also would have qualified and got on the state for that contest.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. Ray Rangel, I teach construction technology. Can you still hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're looking at our first place on Teamworks, Tristan Johnson, Chris Ledesma, Andres Morales, and Justin Vasquez. And we're always wondering how does this impact them in their lives and things like that. Well, Tristan has been pouring a lot of concrete slabs during this extended break. Chris is working drywall with his family. Andres, they do brick masonry, and Justin, they do construction also. And it's funny because when we were on that 5 o'clock or 4:30 getting ready for this meeting, my phone was blowing up. I've got 2 other ex-Teamworks guys that have their own businesses now, and they're running things through my head. One gentleman, I have taught him 5 different ways to take out load-bearing walls. Another one does full stucco and brick veneer, and another one got on with electrical, jet electric, and his first comment was, my God, the second day was harder than the first day. But they were very impressed with his skills to read blueprints, either scale ruler, tape measure, to do takeoffs. And he said, everything that you're teaching us in our classroom is what real life is all about. I said, well, that's very good that they can see that. So I'm pleased where we're going. Some of them team up and work their businesses together as they were state competitors. And here years later, that contact is still being made. Okay, we can slide forward. Next slide. Qualified for state contest, tools ID. It's the same as automotive. They were shown 50 different slides. Ethan Primo, graduating senior. And when I asked him if he was interested, I said, it looks real good on your resume that you're a state skills competitor. And Ramiro is working with his family. Right now they're doing house framings and things like that. So it just perpetuates. I always tell them, I'm not their teacher, I'm a facilitator. I just give them a place to practice, and then they, but I'm always there for them as they need me for the rest of their life. Okay.
Thank you so much. Next up, for Central High School Speech and Debate, we have Miss Julie Schneers.
Hey guys, thank you so much for still honoring our kids. I know that this is unconventional, but it is super neat to see all these slides and their pictures and their competition gear. So thank you for spending some time with us tonight. I want to talk a little bit about some of the cool things that we've been able to accomplish this year. We set a lot of records that are worth talking about. Our team is sitting at 110. When I came to Central 13 years ago, we were sitting at 10 kids. And so Mr. Haynes and I are pumped. And we got to do a day where we pulled everyone out of school and we did team building and we did our officer elections and we grouped our kids for ready for the year, and we talked through focus phrases, and it literally changed the feeling of our crew for the whole year. Man, we just have some amazing kids that you could tell on that day we're going to be willing to throw their all into this. And they did. You can see some of our successes there. And then we hosted another swing tournament this year, which just means a double qualifier. And we adopted two causes. In this case, this year, it was people that we wanted some of our proceeds to go to. So our earnings, we got to donate to two of those people. And one of them is Zach Sutterfield, which you can see in that top picture, who came and judged at our tournament. And man, that was just such a joy to have him there and have our kids get to speak with such a live hero. But the tournament went great, and we were able to host schools from all over the state. Our kids came up with some really cool ideas to give it a culture and not just about competition. And so we came up with a hashtag, and you can still see the pictures on Find Your Fire CHS, hashtag Find Your Fire CHS on Twitter. And these kids, they put why speech and debate was incredible to them, the schools that competed at our tournament. And it was just neat to see how awesome the schools did and how much they enjoyed, and that it's not just about competition sometimes. We set some records at our national qualifier this year. We qualified 18 students to go to now a virtual nationals in June. And we are recognized as one of the top 100 teams in the entire nation this year. And that's 1A to 6A, private, public. That is a huge accomplishment. Mr. Haynes actually found our name on the list first, and we were like little kids in candy store. It was pretty neat to jump up and down about that. And also, for TFA records, we won our region for the 8th year in a row. We also placed amongst all of the schools 8th, and that was out of 200 schools. It's one of the hardest, it is the hardest and biggest state meet in the nation. So we were super proud of our kids. They did incredible. And not only did they do well as far as competition went, but they did a really great job of supporting each other, which I think just helped solidify how important it was for us to grow the culture in the beginning with the neat team building stuff that you guys allowed us to do. So we'll start with one of our superstars. Her name is Andrea Metter-Savant. She is a senior this year, and so she graduates. She's actually been on the team for all 4 years of high school. She rode the bus over as a freshman and did her best to figure out what's going on as a freshman. She is actually ranked number 15th in the nation for poetry. That's walking into nationals before we even know how she really does. So that's kind of exciting. You can see on the right-hand side some of the stuff. She was our DI state champion this year, which was just incredible. She is a national All-American in an SDA organization. She placed as an individual, second overall as an individual in the realm of speaking, and we were really excited about that for her. She qualified for nationals in DI. She was also a semifinalist in duo and duet, and she also qualified for state and POI. She could only go in 3 things, so she was in out rounds for all 3 of her things. We're super proud of her. And next we have Alec Wagnon. He was also a finalist at TFA State. He is also an OAP kid and does an incredible job with their one-act play. I hate that they're not going to get to show that to the community because he is just an incredible actor. He and his partner, Sophia Metter-Savant, they placed 6th in duet acting, and their piece was just riveting. I was really proud of how hard they worked to get that piece up and ready. And he also placed first to go in duo, and it's Mia Winters is his partner there, but they are going to do that virtually. He was also a semifinalist at state with Mia. Next, we have Sophia Metter-Savant, Alec's partner, and Andrea's sister. So isn't that a neat combo? So of course, her and Alec placed 6th, and then she semifinaled with her sister in duo interpretation at TFA State. And they had, of course, a sister piece, and it was beautiful. We were so proud that they made the semifinal round. Next, we have Bryce Fant. He is our vice president and a fantastic leader on our team. He was a quarterfinalist in domestic extemp speaking. He was a national qualifier in public forum debate, and he also qualified for TFA State in LD and PF. So we're really proud of the incredible debater that Bryce has been in the last couple years. Next, we have Ali Gutierrez. She is also an officer and a senior. She's our historian and does a great job of keeping our books and keeping us in line. She was a UIL state qualifier in CX debate and in Student Congress debate. She qualified for nationals in CX. She qualified for TFA State in CX, and she was a quarterfinalist at TFA State in impromptu speaking. Next, we have Brandon Falcon. He was our public relations officer this year. Man, if you want to talk about a kid who will jump up and do anything that you need, if you just say, hey, I need your help, that is this kid. We are super proud of him. He was a UIL State Congress qualifier. He qualified for the national tournament in public forum debate with his partner, Sonia, who you can see pictured with him. He also qualified to TFA State in PF debate and Student Congress. He made quarterfinals at TFA State in impromptu speaking. Next, we have Taylor Caldwell. She is our program information officer. She keeps the inside of our programs running. She was a TFA State semifinalist in both duo and in duets. We're very proud of her. You can see her there with her partners. Next, we have Kevin Frankie. Kevin is our treasurer, and if you know Kevin, he is really good at keeping everybody organized and in line, and that's what he did for us as far as treasury work goes. He was our UIL State Congress qualifier. He was also an NSDA national qualifier in Student Congress and a TFA State Congress qualifier. We're very proud of Kevin. Next, we have Eiley Kent. She was our events coordinator this year and the only officer that is a junior. So we're glad to have a junior that was on our board that could help take care of us this next year. She quarterfinaled at TFA State in duo. She quarterfinaled in TFA State in duet. You can see her with her partners there, Maddie and Taylor. And she also qualified for TFA State in program oral interpretation. Next, we have Sonia Falcon. She was our volunteer chair. We implemented that office a couple years ago because we thought it was so important that we become involved in the community because our community is so incredible at supporting us. And Sonia did an incredible job of keeping us rolling this year and out in the community, all 110 of our kids volunteering in all kinds of places around the town. So if you've got a place that we can volunteer next year, be sure to let us know. Sonia was Brandon Falcon's partner. They qualified for nationals in PF and for TFA State in PF, and she was a quarterfinalist at TFA State in prose interp. Next, we have Davian. Davian is a senior, and he qualified for the UIL State meet in CX, the TFA State, and for nationals, all in CX debate with his partner, Allie, that you can see pictured there. Next, we have Hannah Kim. She's a senior, an incredible debater. She's a captain on our team also, just like Davian and Allie. She qualified for UIL State in CX and TFA State in CX debate. Next, we have Payson Epley. He is a senior and an LD captain. He qualified for nationals in public forum debate. He qualified for TFA State in PF, DX, and LD. We're really proud of the debater that he is. Next, we have Lottie McCoy. She is a junior. She qualified for nationals in dramatic interpretation. She was also a semi-finalist in TFA State in duo with her partner Tyreen, and she was a quarterfinalist at TFA State in DI. Next, we have Mia Winters. She is a junior and an incredible leader on our team. She is qualified for nationals with her partner Alec there, and they're going in duo interpretation virtually. And she quarterfinaled at TFA State in duo, and she qualified also in HI, which got left off of that side, sorry, and POI. Next, we have Max Roberts here. She qualified for nationals in program oral interpretation. She also quarterfinaled at TFA State in POI and in duo with her partner Jaden. And she also qualified and competed in DI. Next, we have, of course, our partner, Jaden Fowler. He's a senior, a national qualifier in DI, and a quarterfinalist in all three of his events at TFA State, DI, Duo, and Duet. And of course, Alyssa Van Zant, who is our legendary sophomore, one of them. She is an speaking captain as a sophomore, opening up that freshman class and bringing those kids over. I cannot even tell you the payout that we have experienced on our team with having these freshmen submerged into our program on the campus. And this is a prime example. She's a captain as a sophomore. She's a national qualifier as a sophomore in informative speaking. She quarterfinaled at TFA State in impromptu speaking, and she also took informative and original oratory. Proud of her. And our next sophomore, who is just leading the realm of all things Congress, is Kenna Wilbanks. She also is a freshman in our freshman class. She qualified for UIL State as a sophomore in Student Congress, and she qualified for the national tournament as a sophomore in domestic extemp speaking. And of course, she was at TFA State in Student Congress. Next, we have Miles Russworm. He is a national qualifier and a TFA State qualifier in Student Congress. And Mr. Lincoln Hama, who is a junior. He's a great speaker, has the most unique ideas, and he missed state by the hair on his chin, but he came back with a vengeance and qualified for nationals in informative speaking. Tyree Lewis, he is a sophomore, beautiful actor and singer. And dancer too. He is a semifinalist at TFA State, first year at state, and he semifinaled in duo with Lottie. And then he qualified for TFA State and DI also. Next, we have Jack McLaughlin. He is our legendary freshman of the year. He gets the award for the most incredible freshman and the coolest humorous interpretation voices. He qualified for TFA State in HI, and he quarterfinaled at TFA State in prose. And he's the funniest kid I know. And we have Miss Gracie Barker. She has spent her whole year just immersing herself into debate. She was a CX debater this year, and she said, I'll try this new style of debate for the national qualifier when we asked her to do so. And then she took it by storm and qualified for nationals in big questions debate as a sophomore. And next we have Bobby Pena. He's a senior and an incredible dramatic actor. He qualified for TFA State in DI, and then he quarterfinaled at TFA State in prose. Next, we have Ms. Bella Rodriguez. She is a very determined junior. She mid-year had to pick up a partner because we needed somebody to step in, and she said, I'll do it. And then they qualified for UIL State. We were crazy proud of her. So she qualified for UIL State and TFA State in CX debate. Next, we have Miss Chloe Hansen. She is a sophomore. She's also one of those kiddos that was in my freshman class, and she qualified for TFA State in duet acting with her partner there, Connor, who was also a part of that class. Miss Liz McClellan, she was a junior, and Liz was a quarterfinalist at TFA State in duet acting with her partner, Jaden Fowler. Miss Maddie Ray, a junior. It's her first year with us, and she quarterfinaled at TFA State in duet acting. And then Connor, Chloe's partner there, he's a sophomore, was in the freshman class. And Connor and Chloe are they're great together. They're so fun to watch. Hilarious kiddos, very proud of their quarterfinals at TFA State. And Miss Mary Bennis, she's one of the hardest workers on our team. She came in as a senior and had lots of catching up to do, and she pulled it off because she qualified for state in 2 events, in duet acting and in program oral interp. Next, we have her partner, Pace Martin, who qualified with her in duet acting. And we have Miss Erica Avia. She qualified for TFA State in dramatic interpretation. Ms. Lauren Bass, a sophomore who was in my freshman class, she qualified for TFA State in Student Congress. Mr. Lexter Canlum, he is a junior, and he qualified for TFA State in foreign extemporaneous speaking. Miss Anaya Dixon, she is a sophomore. She qualified for TFA State in Lincoln Douglas debate. And of course, again, and I know that Tim wanted to say a couple words, Dr. Gomez, but we appreciate you guys so very much. There's no way that we could pull off what we pull off without your support constantly taking care of us every single year. This program is very important to not just these kids, but to our school. So thank you for continuing to support us.
Yes, I just want to say, to echo Ms. Schneer's words, and it's been a great year watching the students grow, and we wouldn't be able to do that without the support of the parents and the support of the school administration there at Central and our Central administration overall, and we just want to say thank you. It's been a great run.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have Chad Wilson back for robotics at West Texas Training Center.
Hello again, board members. I think everybody has that sad story. And well, this is my sad story. I am so proud of this team. This is the West Texas Training Center's robotics team. And these guys last year won first at region, went to state. At state last year, they were the only team with an actual working prototype that could produce the items that they said they could produce. All the others were demo. Nobody else could make the product that they claimed that they could make last year. We learned a lesson about marketing, as a large portion of that contest was about the marketing and not the engineering process or producing a working prototype. This year, the same team, we had one change out. We had a kid move to Colorado, unfortunately. We missed him, but we replaced him with Dominic McCauley, who's a senior. But these guys, we have Christian Atchison, Matt Shaw, and Dominic McCauley. They came together in a just an amazing fashion. Matt and Dominic both took welding together. So they came with that kind of a background where they could build and fabricate. These guys put together a robot, and I'm kind of prefacing all this. We pitched this to somebody who sells welding supplies to our welding program out at the West Texas Training Center. And we told them what we were going to do and how we were going to do it. And then we showed them. They got mad at us because these guys developed a machine that could go inside of a pipeline, find discrepancies, holes, damage, rust, whatever it may be, and weld on top of that to repair the pipe from the inside without pull the pipe. And they had a working prototype that worked on an 18-inch, it was a cardboard mock-up of what would be the inside of a pipeline. Extremely impressive. So they got second place at our ESC, the Education Service Center 15, the Invitational. At that point, the judges didn't quite understand where their some of their information was, and these guys showed their integrity. They could have easily gone with the mistake that the judges made, but they said, no, we did it this way, and that's how we understood it. And so they took second place at the Invitational. At the Stock Show and Rodeo Robotics Competition, moments before they were to go compete, the bleachers ate their machine. They dropped their machine on the bleachers, broke a gear, had to go refabricate just before the judges got there. The piece fell off into the dirt in front of the judge. They were able to get it back in during the presentation, make it work, but it just wasn't as smooth. So at the TCA Regional, they are your state qualifiers because they took first place. They were the favorites to go and win state this year. But unfortunately, because of the virus, we cannot compete. And it just crushes my heart. They're all seniors. They realize that they had a wonderful run, a wonderful opportunity, but they will hold their heads high knowing that they did such a phenomenal job in representing the West Texas Training Center and representing their schools and representing this district. And to be honest, they couldn't do that without your support, board members. And we really appreciate, I think I speak on behalf of all teachers and all sponsors of the wonderful leadership that you provide and at helping our programs to grow in phenomenal ways. Thank you again. Our hats off to you. And we really enjoy this opportunity to tell you about our stories from our students.
Thank you. This concludes our student recognitions for this evening. The efforts and time sponsors and students have put forth in this endeavor is truly remarkable and is greatly appreciated by your peers and our district. We are honored to celebrate all the ways students are smart. It's back to you, Mr. Lehman.
Now, thanks, Dr. Gomez, and I echo those words, and thanks to all of our incredible teachers and sponsors, and it's so motivating to me just to serve in the very small capacity that we as the board member get to participate in that manner. So thank you for putting that together for us. That covers our recognitions, I believe, for this evening. Again, thanks for your hard work, Dr. Gomez, and putting all that together. I know y'all had to practice that a little bit, but really, really good, and I appreciate that. Our next item is item 5 on our agenda. That's the approval of our minutes. Do I have a motion to approve our minutes?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Dindal and a second from Dr. Kingman to approve the minutes of our March 16, 2020 special finance and pre-agenda board meeting, our March 23rd, 2020 regular board meeting, and our March 30th, 2020 special remote board meeting. Do we have any questions or comments concerning our minutes? If not, all in favor, and I'll call names as I mentioned earlier. Mr. Gallegos, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Mizell Flint?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Dindal?
Yes.
Dr. Kingman?
Yes.
And Mr. Lehman, I vote yes. So that we approve our minutes 6-0. Next on our agenda, and I don't think we have anybody wishing to do that, but anyone from the public wishing to make comments on items not on our agenda, now would be a great time to do so. I think Dr. Gomez kind of monitors that for us since we're on Zoom meeting, and no one signed up to do that, and they had to do that before 5:30. So if you are on for some reason and wish to do that in the future, at least while we're having Zoom meetings, you'll need to contact the district before 5:30 the day of our meeting. That's item 6. Item 7 is our reports item, the report part of our agenda, and Dr. Ritter is going to help us with some academic progress information. So I'll turn it over to Dr. Ritter.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lehman, Dr. Detloff, and members of the board. We are just so appreciative to you for all of your support, and it's just obvious as we even through this virtual platform are able to recognize these amazing students that we have and the phenomenal teachers who took the time to put these to put that together, and it was just so awesome to see that and to see the kids. Gosh, we miss those kids, that's for sure. So I'm happy to present tonight just some updates on our virtual learning platform, just some highlights to update everyone on where we are with our progress with our virtual learning platform for the district. And Dr. Gomez is kind of driving for me since it's remote and on her computer. So we'll start with a secondary update. And these are just some numbers. We were able to carry out and do a survey to all of our parents. We've done it now for secondary and elementary. With secondary, our results were able to show us that, you know, we had some really favorable results that we're seeing. About 91% of our students indicated they were able to accomplish their learning activities in under 20 hours in the week, which is what we were aiming for. That was our goal. 75% of the students reported the activities were easy enough to understand and complete on their own. 87% indicated they were able to get help from their teachers easily and quickly. And correlating with that, 87% of parents reported that their student was able to connect with their teacher easily. So that's all good news. 70% of our parents reported that their student was able to complete their learning activities with little or no support from parents. So those were some encouraging numbers, and we look forward to, we'll do another survey later to get more information from our parents to understand more about their experience and our students' experience with the virtual learning platform as well. Okay. With an elementary update, the surveys went out last week. The responses are now being compiled, and just at first glance, we're seeing lots of positive feedback as well. So much of the same indication. It's a little different in elementary. We certainly know that, and those of us, you know, as parents, the experience is, there's a difference between those secondary students and elementary students. Elementary students really do require quite a bit of hands-on and helping, and so we're so appreciative to all the parents at all levels for how they are just supporting their students and encouraging them through their virtual learning platform experience. So working on understanding of the format and online presence expectations every week that we go by, we're seeing just more understanding of that, teachers working with the students, and a lot of individualization and customization for the kids in working with them and really using feedback from parents when it's needed. And we are continuing to go completely virtual with no packets for our students, and so we're using our devices to carry out our virtual learning platform. Okay, so some of our challenges with this, obviously just, you know, expectations for participation and virtual presence. There are many challenges with that. Just, it's really not so much about attendance. It's about just how are our students engaging in showing that they're participating by turning in assignments, touching base with their teachers, and accessing the virtual learning platform. Grading is certainly a challenge. We are working on, we're developing our virtual learning platform grading protocol that we are we will be releasing this week. So we're working through some feedback with that and some final touches to that protocol so that we can share that with parents in the next couple of days. That will come from your campus through K-12, Swift K-12. Equity issues with this platform. Obviously, we have issues with some devices, internet access that make it very difficult for our students to engage in some cases, different levels of home support and home responsibilities. And then for many of our students, we have secondary students that are helping younger siblings, and also just lots of responsibilities on the part of our students at that secondary level. We have an estimated about 400 students in elementary and 450 students in secondary that are still not connected, and this is with lots of attempts to reach out and connect with them. And even with those, we know that some, internet continues to be a difficulty for some of our families. We have hotspots that we have distributed, continue to distribute. We have more ordered, trying to determine prioritization for those hotspots. It's just there really is a very high need in our community. And so we continue to work through these issues and to work to try to help our families. Some of the frustration levels and social emotional concerns that start to expose themselves through this also. I think we've heard parents say that they're even seeing, their older children just really kind of frustrated, not getting to see their friends, not getting to see their teachers, but that's at all levels. And it's just really, it's difficult on everyone, on all of them. So it does enter into our virtual learning platform, and we're very aware of that and trying to just make adjustments and trying to help our students as much as possible. And the challenge of special education services, programming, and evaluation needs. We have a phenomenal special education department led by Diane Underwood, who is our director, and her team. Just really working tirelessly through all of this to try to take the guidance that we're getting from the state and the federal level to roll out the program that we need to roll out for our students. So it's working well. It's difficult, but we are asking that, parents who continue to have issues or concerns contact their campus principal, or teachers, but that we continue to have this feedback loop so that we can continue to be responsive to the needs of all of our students across the district. Okay. And so we wanted to just highlight again, this was our kind of an elevator speech, we called it, through our success team, working with our community-based accountability system team that we had been working through this school year, even last summer into the school year. And we feel that it really fits with what we believe right now, that San Angelo ISD believes that the time is now to fully value the hopes and dreams of each child, to remove whatever barriers exist in obtaining them, and to never again allow a child to be treated as a test score. We will be accountable for each child's future by honoring his or her strengths and supporting his or her needs while improving the system that empowers him or her. So we are still holding true to this. This is our moral imperative of the work that we are doing in our district. And our moral imperative states that if we believe the mission of San Angelo ISD is to engage all students in a relevant and inspiring education that produces future-ready graduates, we will create and support a virtual learning platform that empowers students to develop as creators, collaborators, communicators, and critical thinkers. That is our learner profile. And so as we continue to move forward with this work, we appreciate your support so much. And we continue to do Facebook Live sessions. We did one earlier today. And just hoping that we're providing parents with the information that they need and the support that they need. We feel that, or we know, we've been continuing to look at other programs and platforms that districts are offering around the state. And we do feel that we're just being very responsive to our students and trying to provide them what they need through this challenge. So thank you so much, and we'll continue to provide those weekly reports to you also.
Mr. Lehman, I have a comment if this is the right time.
Yes, sir.
I just first want to, for any constituents out there that are participating via Facebook Live or have joined us in Zoom this evening, first I just really am, it's exciting to see the radical listening. We certainly are practicing radical listening and behaving compassionately as we work through this challenge in front of us. So I just commend our governance team, the Board of Trustees, and our cabinet team, to our building principals and teachers that are doing everything in their scope to really connect with kids, to engage kids in a time of challenge. I think it's exciting to see tonight if you swipe through the window panes of our meeting participants, it brings joy to our hearts to see many of our students participating this evening. Also, I was truly impressed with all of the extracurricular activities that really are aligned with our learner profile. And also that it's exciting to see, for lack of a better word, the future teachers of America making a comeback. So I think, again, we're excited about our recent virtual job fair. We're excited about our individuals in high school that are wanting to choose teaching as a profession, and we need that connectivity more than ever, and their modern brains. I think it's evidence as my struggle today just to get on this board meeting. I had 3 devices in front of me, and I'm on my phone as we speak. And so when my picture is, when my image is gone, that means I'm charging my phone because I don't want my battery to wear out. So I just think we'll continue to be compassionate as we look at the needs of all of our learners and develop a system and an academic profile that's going to meet everybody's needs during this challenging time. So I thank our board, our staff, our principals, and our teachers for just doing exceptional things, all for student benefit.
I had a question for Jana, or
yes.
Oh, okay, there you are. Real quick on the virtual learning platform, how long? Because I had a parent ask me today, how long will the kids go through this? Well, I guess what I'm asking is, when does the school officially end, where they don't have to do the virtual learning? Where they have to log in and all? Because I had a parent asked me today, I said, I guess school's ending on the 31st of May.
May 29th is our last day of school. And so, honestly, we're going to continue it, because even though the physical buildings are closed, in order for us to receive funding for our students, we have to provide some kind of virtual learning platform through the last day of our school. We'll be wrapping things up and allowing students to make sure that there's time at the end for them to have makeup work, or if they're needing to access a little bit longer, and give our teachers time to look through everything that they've received from their students, and also address individual needs that kids may have. But they will continue through these weeks, the last weeks of school, continuing to access the virtual learning platform as we've had it set up, and we will continue with that feedback and listening to them. But if they have individual concerns, they just need to work with their own teachers to determine how often, through the week, they touch base with them and access the platform in order to turn in work. It will continue to be Monday. On Monday, everything is assigned on Monday, and it's due the next Monday. And so our students can go in and access that as it works for their schedule, really. Some teachers are setting up a little more maybe scheduled Zoom time with their classes, so kids can kind of have FaceTime with each other even, but they can also do individual tutoring time with teachers as needed. So it's really customizable to whatever their need is. But as long as they're accessing their assignments and hopefully completing their assignments and turning those in, they're going to be in good shape.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any other comments?
I just wanted to make it. Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
go ahead, Taylor.
Go, Amy. You're first.
I just wanted to make a quick comment. While this meeting's been going on, I've gotten a message from a teacher and a message from a parent, both thanking us for showing grace and kindness and for the grading process. So I just wanted to thank you for putting so much work into making something that's fair and equitable, I guess, for all of our students.
Absolutely. That's an absolute priority during this. Thank you.
And Dr. Detloff and Dr. Rear, I just wanted to comment on the number of kids, and I know Wes and everyone else has been doing Shelly, everyone's been doing a lot of work with this. The fact that y'all have made contact with so many students, if people are paying attention to other school districts across the state, there aren't many districts that can say they've at least made contact with the percentage of students that y'all have made contact with. And so I know that's taken a lot of boots on the ground to make that happen. And I just want to applaud y'all for not only in the virtual learning platform, which is amazing, the fact that you're reaching out to all those kids has been a really good job. So great work.
Thank you. In all of that, it goes to our campuses. Our principals and teachers are working so hard, and every day they're in professional learning communities together and meeting with parents, meeting with kids, meeting together. It is truly a dynamic platform that involves so many throughout every level of the district. So we are just so appreciative to all of them, because this would not be happening without those efforts of our principals and teachers and parents too. Our parents have been great, and they're hanging in there and working hard along with their students. So we appreciate all of them. Thank you.
Dr. Ritter, I did have one question about, I think your slide indicated that we had about 850 students that weren't able to do any virtual learning. So that's obviously a week old at least. Are there things we're doing since then to connect to more students, or are we having any more success in that area? That's about 6% of our total student population, I think. So I was just curious, any new things that we might be doing.
It's really with individual teachers, I would say, and the principals, the administrators on the campuses, the counselors, and even our team reaching out, finding the names of those families and going to them, trying to find ways to connect with them. Our at-risk counselors and coordinators, they're working too. It's how do you make those connections, and just reaching out to them and trying to find ways to connect. We can't really put our finger on why some of them haven't, but we assume that it is because of challenges that they're facing. And, we understand. Dr. Detloff was sharing with us a story of a student who, a great student, and she is working 10 hours a day to try to just have food for her family and trying to help participate in the needs of her family, and wasn't aware that everything that was happening with the virtual learning platform, even with many attempts to try to reach her, she just had not been able to check in on email or that kind of thing, because she literally is getting up and going to work and working. So we're just continuing to try to find those kids and help them and support them as we can. Through the challenges, and it's difficult, but those teachers are doing everything they can. They know they know their kids, and they know if they have kids who are not checking in, there's a reason for it. And then what can we do to try to follow up and continue to help them?
Yeah, thanks. That's not meant as a criticism at all. I'm just curious about, that as we move forward, we as a district can't be satisfied until we're doing everything possible to contact every child. And if that still doesn't happen, then at least we can say that that's what we tried to do. And it's important that some of those kids that, as you mentioned, the kids we're having the most difficult time in reaching are the ones that that need it the most. And I appreciate y'all's efforts. So anything else for Dr. Ritter on her report? If not, I think at least my second report has Dr. McFarland's name about child nutrition services during COVID-19. So I'll turn it over to Dr. McFarland.
Mr. Lehman?
Yes, sir.
I was about to say as Dr. McFarland is approaching the podium, but he, since we're on a virtual podium, I'll go ahead and say this as he's preparing. I did get some additional information from Ms. Huddleston and Mr. Underwood today regarding outreach to students that may not have connectivity. And many of our at-risk coordinators, principals, and even school resource officers are, attempting what we call front porch visits. So practicing social distancing, going to individuals' homes, standing on the front porch out in the yard, attempting to contact them or make, some physical contact appropriately with those members of the household to reach out. So that is ongoing, and it certainly is a challenge, but we will keep pushing forward until we arrive where all students can connect, because I think it's important that they have an opening and a closure. So we want to continue their positivity for the remainder of the school year, as well as set them up for success in the future. So many of those activities are taking place.
Thanks, Dr. Detloff. Okay, Dr. McFarland, your turn. You've reached the podium by now.
Yes, sir. I finally gotten to the microphone. Thank you, Mr. Lehman, Dr. Detloff, and members of the Board of Trustees. Obviously, a bunch of good things happening in San Angelo ISD with those student recognitions, and then the report from our curriculum instruction department and the many outreaches that are happening and the efforts that are being put in. And I get the honor, really, and I say honor because it's an opportunity to brag on the child nutrition, the food service department of the district, because it absolutely has nothing to do with things that I've personally done and had hands on, but it falls into my category because of where it's placed on the organizational chart. And I get the opportunity to talk about the services that are being provided through the child nutrition department during the closure of COVID-19 in the school district. I guess it was probably a couple of weeks ago during one of our virtual meetings that it was requested to get some information on child nutrition services during this time. Last week, I gave a little bit of an update, and then with Friday Facts, I sent the board information there through Ms. Hopkins in the Friday Facts about the summary and the different campuses that are feeding sites for us. And so really tonight is just more of a summary and a rehashing of that information for you. So as we look at this, it's actually been just over a month since we started feeding students at these feeding sites for our district. It was actually started on March the 17th is when we started. And the feeding sites obviously are up there: Bel Air, Bradford, Crockett, Goliad, and Lee. The additional one down there, for a small portion of time as we started the project, Boys and Girls Club and Head Start were looking at wanting to participate, and we served those entities for a little bit, and then just the way it was turning out for them more so than us, because we had a willingness and ability to do it, was not working out well, and so they came off the list. But that's where we started on March the 17th with those sites. As we moved forward, that first week, really, obviously all of this was new, and let me just say, Ms. Helms and her team in the child nutrition department has done a fabulous job of adjusting, which is what you have to be able to do in this fluid time that we're living in. And so they never expected to have this need to serve these meals during this time. And so to get that set up and to get that organized the way they were able to was tremendous. And it was on obviously very short notice, but they were able, when we started this on the 17th, that first week, they started doing breakfast and lunch only, and that's because of the options that the National School Lunch Program provides for districts in the state to participate in, and it gives you different options of what you can do. And as you can see, during that time period, there were 655 breakfasts served. And then about 25, a little bit over 2,500 lunches were served during that time period. So based off that first week of kind of getting our feet wet in the child nutrition department with looking at numbers, the decision was made to go to serving of lunch and a snack, which was also an option out of the National School Lunch Program department. And so they've been taking that option forward because there was much more participation, much more really need, I guess you would say, as what was participating by numbers during that lunch period. So during that lunchtime, they were able to pick up a lunch and then also a snack at that same time. So it's not two different serving times. They pick up a lunch and a snack that they're able to have for that later that day. The meal totals moving forward, as you look at that, show that this is through the April the 16th. April the 16th. Bel Air had over 8,000, Bradford over 9,000, Crockett 10,000, Goliad over 9,000, and Lee over 13,000. And then when you put the Boys and Girls Club in there together with the totals, you can see, and this again goes up to last Thursday, those are the numbers I had included in this, show that we had fed well over 50,000 meals to our community. And I believe it was Dr. Kingman last week that had visited about, you know, this is a real service, not just to San Angelo school children, but also to the community, because there's, you know, when a parent comes to the feeding site with a child and requests a meal, they're going to get a meal. And we see it as a need that we're meeting for our community, obviously for our district and for the students there. But we're going to give a child a meal that shows up. And so it's just been a great structure that Ms. Helms and the Child Nutrition Department has put together, and being able to help serve the community through serving of meals. As many times as you look at it, you know, we had the student celebrations with what teachers are doing great jobs with students this year, and then the way that our campuses and our curriculum instruction department are meeting the needs remotely of our child. And sometimes the food services department, part of those operations of the district, they kind of go unnoticed until they go wrong, or until it's not happening anymore, something of that nature. And so it's just an honor for me to really present to you this information about the number of children and the meals that are being served throughout the district and our food service department. And again, this doesn't have the individual daily counts on it, but that information was given to you in your Friday facts. And I'll answer any questions I can if I have an answer for it.
Any questions for Dr. McFarland? Thanks for that report. That's and as you mentioned, I know Dr. Kingman said something last week about, you know, we're not asking kids where they go to school. We're just providing a need for our community. And
yes, sir.
It's with great pride that we're doing that. So thanks for, certainly all of our cafeteria workers are a huge part of that team and that success. So we appreciate them. Anybody else for Dr. McFarland? If not, I guess I think the next report is actually mine, as soon as I find it. It's hours that have been, each one of our board members has participated in training. And that is, you have to, based on different types of training, you have tier 1 and tier 2, which is team building. Tier 3 is board development. That's an annual continuing education, and tier 4 is a training that you only have to do every other year, but that's in student achievement. So I'll mention our board members, I guess in alphabetical order, how we've done training this year. This is from April 1 of 2019 to April 1 of 2020. So Mr. Dendel has 16 hours that he's completed it. Mr. Gallegos had 14 and a half hours that he completed. Mr. Hernandez had 14 and a half, Mr. Kingman 13, Mr. Lehman, 8.5. Miss Mizell Flint is the winner. She had 24 3/4 hours, and Mr. Parker had 15.5. So if we could get our board president to do a little bit more training, we'd be really good. But that covers that section. That's just a report that we're required to report to the community. Next item.
Real quick, Lanny.
Yes, sir.
We had a partnership with Goodfellow Air Force Base, and just asking Carl if we had anything from them.
Okay.
Before that. So.
No, sir, not at this time.
Okay, thank you.
I will tell you, Gerard, that you know how impassioned Dr. Bonds is about the military and what's going on at Goodfellow. I spent some time with her today, and she said that anyone that's coming into Goodfellow, which they average about 900 new students, I think every other week is what she said. Don't quote me on that, but they initially were quarantining those airmen or whoever they were, students, for 2 weeks, and they were doing so without any. They didn't have the internet capability of you know, having access to that. Where they had to house them was in a dorm that they were working on, but it wasn't completed, so they didn't have all that done. So here's an airman that comes in, 18, 19-year-old airmen, referring to both men and women, and they were pretty much quarantined in a room without any Wi-Fi, without any ability to. They didn't have any TV, so it's pretty much like a quarantine. It's serious, and they've recently reached out to us and others for help on that, but they're actually able to have Wi-Fi and have a little bit of entertainment right now. But that's our military folks are struggling during this time frame too, and I think we all need to remember them in our thoughts and prayers as we move forward. Our next item is actually item 8. That's consent items. Dr. Gomez said she'd put that up. We got a pretty significant, while we're talking about Wi-Fi and being connected, and we got a pretty significant donation from the San Angelo Police Department for Wi-Fi, so we really appreciate that. That's the only donation that we had. That's item. I guess I'll ask for an approval of our consent items A through D. Do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve consent items A through D.
Second.
So we have a motion from Mr. Parker and a second from Mr. Gallegos to approve our consent items. Consent item A is the one that Dr. Gomez posted for us. That's consider donations. Item B is consider superintendent's recommendations for personnel for school year 2021. And I know we got an addendum on that today. So if anybody has any questions about that, I'm sure Dr. Gomez would be glad to review that with you. Item C is consider superintendent's recommendations for 2021. This is teachers and other professional contracts. These are current teachers that we have, and that was actually provided in an addendum. And I think that's probably close to 70 pages worth of professionals that we have employed by our district. So by campus, I'm not sure we've ever gotten that information, but I appreciated getting it. So thank y'all for providing that information. And then item D is to consider approval of bids for our child nutrition department for 2019-2020 for that school year. As we usually mention at our board meetings, all these items were previously discussed at our last Zoom meeting, which was last Monday. So do we have any questions about that? If not, all in favor of our motion, I'll start with Mr. Dindal. How do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Kingman?
Aye.
Mr. Parker?
Aye.
Ms. Mizell Flint?
Aye.
Mr. Gallegos?
Yes.
And Mr. Lehman votes yes as well. So those items are approved. Our next item is item 9, consider bills, accounts, and financial statements for March of 2020.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Dindle, and I think multiple seconds. It sounded like Dr. Kingman's voice. So we have a motion from Mr. Dindle and a second from Dr. Kingman to approve our bills, accounts, and financial statements for March of 2020. Again, Mr. Dindle, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dr. Kingman?
Aye.
Mr. Parker?
Aye.
Ms. Mizell Flint?
Aye.
Mr. Gallegos?
Yes.
And Mr. Lehman votes yes as well, so that's a 6-0 vote. Item 10 is to consider a resolution regarding delegation of temporary purchasing authority to the superintendent. We're doing this on a weekly basis, and I'll let, I guess, Dr. McFarland, if he wants to review that with us, that'd be great.
You bet. Thank you, Mr. Lehman, Dr. Detloff, members of the board. This is our weekly revisiting here of the purchasing plan for during the COVID time that is looking at authorizing or giving the superintendent authorization to make purchases for over $25,000. If just again, is this kind of in a review? The original resolution was we adopted it by week now, and so we did one last week, 7 days ago on April 13th. It retained the same language of the original resolution, which we adopted on March the 23rd, and we've revisited monthly or weekly since. This current one is scheduled to end on today, April 20th, and as stated in that resolution, we revisited it at the weekly virtual board meetings. This new one that is before you, again, maintains the same language with the only things change is that pending the adoption of it today, it will be good until April the 27th. So again, another week when we have that information for you. On the next page of the purchases that have been made, and again, you got this in your Friday facts that were made this past week with that resolution approval. Obviously, those amounts didn't go above and beyond, but it's part of the transparency we want to maintain with the board. We trust your leadership and want your input and guidance, and so want to maintain that transparency with you as we continue to provide that weekly information and ask for this resolution approval.
Okay, thanks, Dr. McFarland. Any questions about that or our resolution? Again, that's a resolution that allows us to, Dr. Detloff, to make purchases in association with COVID-19 and board's approval to do so. So do we have a motion? I don't have a motion yet. Do we have a motion to approve?
I move to
Motion to
approve.
approve.
Go ahead, Gard. I'll second then. George makes the motion.
Make the
Go for it,
motion.
George.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion from Mr. Gallegos and a second from Mr. Parker to approve the resolution regarding delegation of temporary purchasing authority to the superintendent. Dr. McFarland, thanks for your work on that. And certainly thanks for informing us about any purchases, really. So to your comment about transparency and stuff, we appreciate that. Any other board comment or questions? If not, all in favor of that motion, Mr. Dindle?
Aye.
Dr. Kingman?
Aye.
Mr. Parker?
Aye.
Ms. Mizell Flint?
Aye.
Mr. Gallegos?
Yes.
And Mr. Lehman votes aye as well, so that's the 6-0 vote. That covers our business for this evening, except this will be a challenge. We'll see how good we do at this.
Lanny?
Yes, sir.
Did we cover item D, the considering approval of bids for the child nutrition department? The 2019-20 school year?
Yeah, that's part of our consent, wasn't it?
Yes, I believe it was.
It was? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
Item D of consent.
Okay, it was on. Okay, all right. Thank you for clearing that up for me.
Okay. Thanks for keeping me on track. So we do have on our announcements with, I think we talked last week about the possibility of us in May the 11th. Be interesting to see what the governor says on April 27th. But at least for now, we'll plan on having another Zoom meeting on May 11th. And then hopefully by May 18th, we may be able to have a social distance board meeting like we did back in March. So that's the plan, at least for now. We'll find out more as we move along, but I think the governor and a number of other folks are really anxious about getting at some semblance of normal back. So we'll see how that goes. But we'll have that. That covers our announcements. Do we have any board members who would like to put something on our future agenda for our board team to consider? If not, we're going to go into closed session. We're going to do that under Texas Government Code 551.072, 551.074 for personnel matters. I guess that's it. Dr. Detloff, is there another reason why we're going to executive session?
Mr. Lehman, Dr. Detloff he had some connection issues.
Okay.
He will be joining the executive session whenever that begins.
Okay. All right. So that's all I'm aware of, that we're going to discuss personnel matters, and that includes the completion of Dr. Detloff's evaluation. And I don't know of anything else that we'll be discussing. So we'll close this meeting. Everybody has to get out of this and then get into the next Zoom meeting that Dr. Gomez sent us, and we'll see how good we are at that. Okay. Thanks.
May I ask a question?
Thanks.
Just a second, Lanny.
Okay.
Dr. Gomez, do we actually quit this meeting or just go into the other meeting?
Yes, everyone signed in, even the non-board members will need to leave the meeting room because I will close down this meeting. Then those of you that aren't in executive session, you can try to enter the meeting you're in now after it's closed down, and I will let you in as soon as that begins. But everyone signed into this meeting will now need to leave the meeting room.
Well, and when we're through with the executive session, do we come back to this meeting to close it out?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
So we'll sign into the close this one, sign into the executive session meeting, and then come back and sign back into this one.
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Like I said, we'll see how good we are. So we'll find out how good as Zoomers we are. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay, so we returned from our executive session. We took no votes or official board action while we were there in the executive session. And hearing no objections, our board will stand adjourned at this particular time. So thank y'all to everybody. Farrah, thanks again for all your hard work on this. It's good to see everyone, and look forward to hearing more about great successes that are going on at SKILSUSA. So thank y'all. Talk to everybody later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all have a wonderful evening and a great week.
Thanks, Gerard.